years ago when they just got purchased. I'm like, it's going to be interesting in a few years to see what kind of barrels they're able to get from MGP now that they're owned by MGP, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of being just a big buyer in a big sea of other big buyers, take Smoke Wagon, for instance. Mm-hmm. They buy a crap ton of MGP. A lot of other companies do too. So Penelope/Penelope, they were always in that same mix with everybody else that bought from MGP. So when they got bought, I was like, it's going to be interesting to see what MGP holds back for them. It's going to be cool. So
this particular release from the Architect series, it reminds me of Trails End in that or Short Barrel even, because it leans heavily into the barrel manufacturer, which in this case is Penelope of France, and it is from them that they got the French oak stage that gives the Crème Brûlée release its name.
Yeah, and if you don't know, with what they do, and I think they were one of the first, if not the first, to do it, but they've got this whole, it's hard to explain now because I haven't talked about it in a while, but it's almost like an MRI machine for barrel staves.
They call it Oak Scan.
Oak Scan, yeah. So they're able to scan the oak, and their machine is able to basically tell them what their whiskey should, what it should kind of taste like when it's matured. So
that is proprietary technology of this French company for the time being.
Well, I don't know if it's a French company, but at least the oak is from France.
It says it's their state-of-the-art.
Okay. Then maybe Bardstown has something similar, but there was one company in the States that had something similar to that. So although it might be different.
Do you think that, considering that Penelope and Bardstown have jumped on it, do you think that'll be something big in the future?
I can see it going forward, yeah. I mean, you got to figure it's very expensive to put, barrels of whiskey down, right? So if you kind of have an idea what it's going to taste like, because you're scanning each basically oak stave in a barrel, or you're scanning each stave before you put it in said barrel, it's like a cheat code. It'd be nice to know.
It enables the company, in this case Penelope, to charge a higher price, but also reduce the amount of not to say waste, but
maybe barrels that aren't quite ready.
That's right.
For what they're doing. Now this is the Crème Brûlée release. Now to be fair, this tastes nothing like Crème Brûlée. So if people see this, now this came out years ago.
Yeah.
So this is just a recent shipment. I was in Waco, Texas, of all places. Got our favorite Mexican place, Roberto's, on a Saturday because we were up in Dallas. Indeed. I'm like, I gotta go buy, I think it's Firewater or something.
Firewater, the one with the piano.
Yeah.
How are they doing,
Yeah. Yeah, let's just say their bourbon selection wasn't the greatest, but they did have their allocated stuff. They had a bunch of Wellers that I passed on, but they had the Penelope Crème Brûlée, which I paid a little extra for.
It was a smaller store.
But it's a smaller store, and B, this stuff started coming out years ago, and I just hadn't seen it. Mm-hmm. So when I saw it for the 90-something bucks, I'm like, I have to buy it.
Why do you feel inclined to let everybody know that it doesn't taste like Crème Brûlée?
Well, because a lot of people might see the Crème Brûlée on the label and be like, oh, this is like a dessert bourbon or something like that.
Sure.
That's not how it works. So when they do their stuff like with the Rio and the Havana or the cigar series, it's more of a general to get you in the right mindset of maybe the tasting notes that you should find. So just based off of Crème Brûlée, you've got to go to maybe a little custardy, if you've ever smelled custard
on the nose.
If you've ever smelt the burnt sugar that's on top of a Crème Brûlée, which we've talked about in other videos before as well.
It's a similar note because of the oak aging.
Yeah, it's the sweet oak, some barrel char, which
barrel char, burnt sugar, that
comes off as that. Now what's funny is on the nose, other than the things we just talked about, I did get a bit of cinnamon, like cinnamon dust or cinnamon powder,
that makes
which
sense.
is kind of, you always got to go back to like Aaron's old school smoke wagon, like uncut unfiltered and stuff, where it leans a lot on the cinnamon notes. So I got that.
It's been so long, I hardly remember.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the notes we got. Now this is 110 proof, so although it's not a store pick, the proof is still quite respectable, where some of this stuff comes off like in the 90s or whatever. And
At that point, what are we doing?
some people don't like it because they say, oh, too much, the barrel influence, whatever your stage you're putting in there takes over. But whatever, let's give it a shot and see what we think.
Like everything from Penelope, quite good.
Sweet, creamy. Oh, I definitely get...
I get a lot of that cinnamon.
Cinnamon comes through, the custard notes.
The custard note is really interesting. That's quite unique.
It's hard to explain, but if you ever smelt the custard in a creme brulee, it's sweet, you get creamy, and that's what this is.
It's a thick sweetness.
Yeah.
Different from the sugar notes that you usually get.
But you definitely get the extra added sweet oak in there. Barrel char, which is once again in the creme brulee, right? That's the burnt sugar stuff. Who's bugging me? No, my brother's bugging me again. I will call him when we're done. So yeah, this is really good. I'm glad we found one finally, because it's been a couple years, and you know me, I'm not hunting for shit. I mean, if it's out, it's out. If I gotta wait in line for something, it's not happening.
Would you hunt for this in a different life?
No,
just good.
But if you see it out and you're a fan of Penelope like we are, I think we talked before we pressed play. I think we just said, shit, we got a lot of Penelope. Well, we've added 4 bottles this year. And before that,
Yeah, 3.
I had 3 or 4. So, but I like it.
Yeah, Penelope has been coming out with some more interesting offerings, particularly after the MGP acquisition. I like the Architect series. I wish there was a little more literature out there about what exactly goes into the thought process behind it, because on the back it's pretty sparse, aside from name dropping the French company and saying that it's a complex stave that they used, which I don't know what that means. So on the bright side, it does note that it's a 5-year age statement.
Yeah. So let me tell you this. So let me
tell you something about yourself that you.
So with the Architect series, they put this on the back.
Yeah.
Right. So the stave finishes are going to basically be the different levels of char or toast that they're putting on the staves before they put them in. And then also they have a thing that they do where they it's almost like, I don't know if you ever watched any of those weird tattoo videos where there's like scarification instead of getting a tattoo, like they're cutting the design into you. It's super weird.
What the hell are you watching on Instagram?
No, this is years ago. That was a big thing for a while.
That's interesting.
But what they'll do is they'll take the wood staves, and we've talked about spiral wood staves, we've talked about regular, but what they'll do is they'll go in almost with a machine and notch, make different shapes and different notches in the wood, and then do the charring or toasting or whatever. And so you'll see these, not so much the creme brulee version, but you'll see just a regular Architect, especially at the specs here, with their store picks, and they'll pick which stave profile or a combination of the stave profiles. It is, I believe, if I remember right, it's like a 21 rye, so it's like 21% rye.
Would that be considered a high rye mash bill?
What we talked about before, it depends on the company you're dealing with. For Buffalo Trace, that's fucking out of this world rye. For MGP, that's kind of right down the middle, I think, because I think MGP's, I think they've got 36 rye. And if you don't know what 36 rye or 21 rye is, it's just in the mash bill.
Corn, the second flavoring ingredient.
Corn's going to be the highest. In these, the rye is the second highest, and then the malted barley is going to be the least. So MGP makes a whole plethora of different mash bills and whatnot. So that's...
How many mash bills do you think MGP has?
As many as they want.
Meanwhile, Buffalo Trace has 2, right?
2 in the wheated.
Oh, yeah.
So 3. Well, technically 4. Here's we're counting the rise.
Sure, but we're not counting the rise.
You know, like the Sazerac and stuff like that.
That's
So
right.
technically they have 4
Technically.
4 mash bills with a metric crap ton of product.
Certainly.
Right. But MGP's got,
Get a lot more of the
I guess, hundreds.
I get a lot more of the burnt sugar on the retro.
Yeah. It's nice. But
Very pleasant.
like we talked about, it's not something if you think you're getting, you know, like a double oak sugar bomb, like a Woodford double oak. This is definitely not that.
Honestly, from a marketing perspective, they should have like creme brulee in quotes.
Yeah.
Like we should say creme brulee because it's like you mentioned at the top, and this is the most important when getting into like special releases, whether it be from Penelope or from other places. The naming convention is partially to get you in the right headspace.
Good marketing too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Boy.
Unless it says like Tokaji cast finish, in which case you'd expect it to taste like Tokaji or Amburana or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, no, I agree. No, just the cinnamon spice in that. It really
It's quite unique.
jumps out. So it's a fun play on the sweet, sugary bits of the, you know, of the barrel char and then the toasted sugar. But that cinnamon, boy, it drinks pretty spicy for a 21 rye. That's still, to me, that's still pretty spicy.
What do you think? Beginner, intermediate, or advanced on the flavor profile? Right around the middle?
Yeah, I think if you're you know, you've been in your journey for a little bit, you know, you don't have to have, the thing with this one in particular is it's not super subtle.
Mm-mm. It's
So
quite in your face.
it's quite just like, here you go. So now if you're a brand new beginner and you're just running around hunting shit because you see things on the
proof's
YouTubes
probably too high, and I doubt that a beginner would like the cinnamon notes.
and they're not cheap.
Definitely.
You know, I think maybe MSRP is going to be between the $70 and $80 range.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we paid $93 or something before tax. So, but that was you know, to me that's the small store finder's fee kind of thing. They had it
In Waco, Texas.
in Waco, so I'll pay a little more just to be able to own one and having the collection. But I mean, if you're like a brand new beginner, you're probably not going to appreciate this.
And if you're really advanced, there's still something fun about this particular release, and in the grand scheme of this expensive hobby, it's not too expensive.
Yeah, it's not the most I've paid for stuff.
Not even close.
That's for sure. But you know, after tax for 107-ish or whatever it was.
Yeah, pick it up, cork it. I think it was a good release overall. Look forward to seeing more from Penelope as always.
Yeah, fun flavor combinations. If I found it, starting to get easier to find.
Yeah.
Right.
As with most limited releases.
And you don't have to have a super developed palate. So, you know, like we talked about earlier, you know, beginner to middle type of palate, you're like, oh, I can pick up on these things. And then if you get a bottle and you open it, I mean, you can do what I did when I first started, you know. I find something, if you can find it, buy it, throw it in a glass, and rewatch this video and see if you can find the stuff that we find. Because, you know, 12 years ago, that's how I started.
And it's easy with a release like this.
Yeah, it's kind of, well, I don't know that it's in your face. It's like an Isle of Scotch where it's like,
No, not that
oh,
much.
this is exactly what you're smelling. But the cinnamon notes you can easily pick up on, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the sweet toasty bits.
Yeah, the barrel
You know,
char.
the barrel char. Yeah, I mean, you can tell that at 110 proof, it's got great proof. It's definitely a little spicy, but you can notice all those things if you can find it. And like I said, we found it in the middle of Texas, and maybe other people can too. So anyway, this is super cool. Glad we got it. We'll throw it up on the shelf with its brothers and sisters and maybe revisit it another day.
Indeed. A meandering conclusion as always.
Yep. Cheers.